Hi, I'm Trent Gustus of Keller Williams Realty. In this report, I'll talk about the condo townhome market in Calgary, average prices, days on market, and inventory supply.
To make our stats a little bit more accurate, we're going to divide the city into different quadrants. We're going to look at the northeast section first, the northwest section. The southwest section, what we're talking about is Springbank, Discovery, Aspen, those areas. The deep south, the southwest and the southeast, and inner city. Okay, so we're going to start with the northeast. So when you look at what happened in March for townhomes, now these are not apartment condos, these are townhome style and villas, these type of properties. We had 40 sold in March, and if we look at how that compared to February, it looks like sales are up a little bit. We got a few more sold, and let's look at our prices. So looks like from what had sold in February, actually sold for more money. On average, $251 a square foot as opposed to $225 a square foot in March. So things are definitely looking up that way. Now look at our median prices. Our median prices are down a little bit. 227 was where most people bought, and February was a little bit higher. But let's look at how that compared to last year. Last year we had 20 sold listings in the Northeast in the same time period of March, and those were sold at $199 a foot. So definitely sales up this year. I mean, from last year, they're double. And so we've got a pretty strong townhome market compared to what we had last year, a little bit better. Now, if we look at what we've got, what we sold last month and what's currently available, we actually have 45 active listings for villas or townhomes, and that's a little bit more than a month's supply. Now, where they're priced at is they're priced on an average of $234 a foot as compared to where the sale prices were at $225. So a little bit higher. If you'll notice, they're also about 200 square feet bigger, the ones that are left on the market. The successful pricing was around $238, $238,000, and of course they averaged $242. So that's pretty close match. The list prices being a little bit higher than they were before, so they're edging up a little bit. The buyers, however, are more content to pay somewhere around between $227,000 and $233,000 in the Northeast. Okay, so now we're going to move to the northwest section of the city. So in the northwest, we had 87 sales for townhomes in March, and according to last month, we had 67 sales. So that's actually, it's pretty good. We had, but the sales for February were a little bit higher price per square foot, as were the sale prices. So it tells you that the market is actually, it's actually okay, but we might have had a sale here that increased. No, it didn't increase the. This is an interesting note that when you've got a higher sale price, it doesn't always change the market average, especially in this case because we had an 1,800 square foot property sell for $540. So this had little bearing. So that's why I always talk about why look at the average sale price, because the average sale price that the board always uses, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense, because the price that people are paying per square footage is really what's telling us what's going on. And if we want to compare that to last year people were paying $260 a square foot for their 1,245 square foot condos. So when we look at it, it's about $4 to $5 a foot higher than it was last year, but not a lot. And the days on market, though, was quite a bit less. Now, if you look at how many properties sold, you can see that in March of last year, 68 condos sold, and this year was 87. So definitely more sales there. And we had a high sale here of $1 million condominium sold, in March of last year. And you'll see that the market average wasn't higher. So when we look at it from a supply point of view, you'll see here we have 91 active listings. And these active listings are priced at $343 an average per square foot, and the median where most people buy is at $269 a square foot. Okay, so how does that compare to where people actually bought? They bought for $262 to $264. This is quite a wide number off of that. So list prices where most people were comfortable buying were $266 a square foot. and those list prices were people were looking at homes at 300 or townhomes at 323,000, and opposed to this year at 384, or this what's currently on the market is $384 a foot, and the median was 312. So it tells you a little bit about what's going on, and that is that there's some properties are left on the market that are priced higher per square foot, and they would be the ones that are be sitting on the market. And it might be that there's higher end finishing with these, but the buyers are certainly looking for a little bit lower pricing than where the sellers are at.
So now we're going to move on to the southwest section of the market, not the deep southwest, but everything is down as far as Discovery and everything west of Sarcee, which means that it's not considered the inner city.
Now looking at the southwest, you'll notice we have 41 sales for March, and when we look at how that compared to February, we had 30 sales in February. And we had a high sale out there for 1.3 million, and that's a townhome. We're calling that a townhome. So we had somebody sell a high-end townhome. Now these, our average price per square foot is actually 308. So compared to 315, so the market's up a little bit there. Days on market exactly the same, and as average sale price is a little bit lower for March than it was in February, because this big sale probably had a contributing factor to that. And if we look at how that compared to last year, actually we sold more properties last year than we did this year. And of that, they sold for a little bit less money. So our median price last year was 274, days on market was 27, and this year 307. So properties are selling for $25 a square foot higher, and on an average, I guess you'd say about the same, about $25 a square foot higher. So people are definitely paying more for condos than they were last year. If you look at the average sale price, though, last year in March was $482, and this year $419. So those sales were up, and they actually bought on average 1,600 square foot units compared to 1,300 this year. Interesting. So when we look at it from a supply point of view, we have 36 active listings in the deep southwest for townhomes. They probably just haven't built a lot of townhomes down there. And we've got a high list price for a townhome at 1.3 somewhere down in the southwest, and that might be contributing and making our averages a bit high. But most of the townhomes are higher per square foot, but the median is really the most important thing. We've got an average of 1,500 square foot townhomes in the southwest, and they're priced at $464, and 317 is an asking price per square foot, and the buyers are more comfortable paying about 307. Interestingly enough, is our list price per square foot was less than our sale price per square foot. What that meant was that there was some situations where that made this market average come up where people paid more than list price for these particular townhomes. So that's a kind of exciting news right there in itself. But some of the properties that we have available left on the market are priced a little bit higher than where the market is really at. The buyers are really more likely to be looking at properties priced between 317 and 304 square foot, which means that these median price properties 464. The ones that are left are a little bit bigger than where the buyers are at. The buyers are mostly at 424 to 422, 422,000. So it tells you a little bit about what the buyers are doing, and that there's some more expensive properties left on the market that are priced higher per square foot. So really, there's not that much available for the buyers who are in those price ranges.
Now we're going to talk about the deep south. We're going to include areas like Silverado, Cranston, Auburn Bay, all of these areas, Copperfield, and these all areas seem to have a little bit of parity as far as how they compete with each other, and we're going to do an overall average on this area.
Moving on to the deep south here, we got 61 sold listings for March, and if we look at how that compared to February, we had 60 sales, so it didn't change much. We actually sold about the same amount. And as far as how they were priced, looks like down south they sold for a little bit more money than before. The average sale price though was $327, a square foot, as opposed to last month's $329. That's very, very close and very negligible. And you see that the square footage price doesn't really match here, looking like we're getting, and it had to do with the size of the properties that sold on average. But those numbers are actually pretty close, and the days on market are pretty close too. So that's pretty much the same. Now, when we look at how that compared to last year sale prices were remarkably lower per square foot, 237 on the average, and a 275 average sale price for a townhome down in the deep south. And when we look at it from an inventory point of view, we could see that we got a little bit more than a month's supply on the market right now. And where those are at is they're priced at average list price of 345, and what was successful was 332, so a little bit higher, and they're actually a little bit smaller. And when we look at the list price per square foot, 287, and these are stretching the buyers a little bit down here, and the supply is a little bit over a month. So the market's moving up a little bit there because there's not enough properties to buy in the deep south.
The next report will be the inner city market.
Now here's our inner city townhome market, 78 sold listings on the inner city. And when we look at how that compares to February, 62 sales. And we actually had a higher average sale price for February than we did in March, just last month. So, but the days on market was less, 29 days. And actually, we sold some higher end properties in February than we did in March. So, and we actually sold some bigger ones on average. Now let's compare that to last year. Last year, 61 sales last year in March, and those average price per square foot is right around the 310 mark per square foot, and 300 for the median. So definitely the market's up compared to last year. I mean, $30 a foot on the median. And the days on market, well, they're about the same as they were last year, except for the average. The average was 46 last year. So where the average sale prices are, 418 this year, 442 last year. It's pretty interesting how averages go, but they don't really match up when you look at where the average sale price per square foot. So sales price per square foot is better to determine if actually people are getting more money for their properties, and they are getting more money this year. When you think that's about $19-20 a square foot more than last year, and of course the median price $330, $331. That's $30 a square foot higher than the previous year. So definitely the price per square foot is up. Many people are getting more money. Now we look at this from a supply point of view. We have 112 townhomes on the market in the inner city, and of course some of these are pretty high-end properties. But where the median price is around $369 compared to the buyer's willingness to pay about $331, and the list price was $332. It's interesting that those numbers are so close, and where the median price is, what they're asking for is $548, and where the buyers are really looking to buy is somewhere between $422 and $413. So that tells you that what's left on the market is really higher end, and the buyers are out there looking for properties they just can't find at this particular time. There's not much available in this particular group for those buyers. So it's going to mean that, even when you consider the fact that they're asking a higher price per square foot, even though they're bigger. So I don't know if it's going to be successful. We'll see the numbers next month and find out exactly what happened with these properties. If those numbers change, it'll probably mean that these properties that are above the average list price, these ones at $580, may still be on the market, and might be looking at the same numbers again.
Realize that the market news I've just given you is based on the whole market. There's a whole other study we can do on the area that you're looking to buy or sell in. Your area may not move according to the whole market, and realize that average sale prices don't mean that a specific home would go up that percentage based on the whole market. Average sale prices sometimes mean that people are buying more expensive homes. Back when I started selling real estate, over 90% of the homes I sold were expired listings or homes that other agents couldn't sell. During that time, I learned from my clients the many frustrations that they had selling their homes.
Yeah, we had the home about, twice with some other agencies, and they couldn't sell the house. We don't know why. It's a beautiful house.
There was not any interest shown at all in our home by anybody that came and viewed it.
Too many of the other MLS realtors who'd come to show the house, they wouldn't have a clue.
We didn't get any feedback on our showing.
Last time our house was in the market about 3 months and we've never got any offers.
It's for these reasons I have a very detailed approach on the way I sell my clients' homes. But here's what my clients had to say.
So we tried to put our townhouse up for sale October of last year, and it just wasn't selling, you could say. We had some show homes in the beginning of October, and a lot of people came, but no one really made a really decent offer, and we weren't getting any feedback. After the last 2 months, about November and December, we had no showings, no one was coming, and we weren't really hearing from our real estate agent anymore. So come January, a friend of the family told us about Trent and how, that he had helped them sell their house, and
don't forget how we got that in the mail.
And how we got in the mail a pamphlet that said, guaranteed we can sell your home. In which case, we both decided we'd call Trent.
And give Trent a call. And Trent came in the very first day that he came to see us, and he said, well, let's look at the market. Let's see where we're sitting at in the market, and let's make a plan of how we're going to put this up so that it's more appealing than everything else in the market in that kind of zone that people are looking for houses, in that price range, in that category, being a townhouse. And basically what ended up happening was, as soon as the house went up, exactly what we had predicted with Trent was going to happen happened. And in a very, very short period of time,
I think it was like 1 day.
I think it was 1 day.
Yeah.
We had an offer the first day and took it. Trent gave us extremely knowledgeable advice on how to deal with the initial lower offer, and it resulted in us maintaining a lot more of our value in our house.
One of the things that I noticed was really nice about how our house sold was that there was a video that was taken for YouTube, and when we went to go see it, we fell in love with our home again, not to lie. It just, it put our home in a light where you wanted to live in it. It talked about, the great things that we loved about our home when we first walked in. Just 2 blocks down, there's another house for sale that didn't have that quality of videoing, and it didn't show the aspects of the home which we fell in love with, which we found that other people did. And watching the video, you realize that we boosted so much more of our traffic coming into the house. People who were looking at it, they already were interested before they even showed up. And right away, just from the first day, we had 3 or 4 people walk through that all wanted to make offers. And assuming if we wanted to stay on the market longer, we could have easily sold the house
5-6
times over.
Well, I think what the commercial does versus just having an MLS listing with pictures and then someone has to call and then come and see it is it takes the same thing that companies do, but he does it for you on an individual basis. Companies, when they want to sell something, you see it on the commercial while you're watching the NHL playoffs or something, and you go, this is awesome, I want it. And that's exactly what his commercial does. You see it and boom, you want it.
We had our home listed for 4 months in the fall, and it just didn't sell. We had a little interest at first, but then it just died down. After the new year, we got some information in the mail from Trent, and he was able to show us the advantages of video marketing, and he showed off our home to its best advantage. It's not a show home, it's not a new home, but it's a comfortable home. And he was able to show that and get that information out to lots of people. And we had so many showings. We had 1 or 2 showings a day. Some days we had so many showings we weren't even able to come home for meals. There was that much interest in our home. Another thing Trent was able to show us was that the market was actually good in November when we had our home listed before, and that was when there was no interest shown in ours. And there were homes selling in this neighborhood for actually less than what we got for ours just this past week. We sold it in about 4 weeks with Trent, and we're really excited to be, we got a price that we're happy with, and moving on.
This is just 2 examples, but in 13 years of marketing homes, I've got hundreds of examples of turnaround situations. High and low-end homes, fixer-uppers, show homes. I've marketed a home just like yours. So call me today for a low-pressure interview to discuss the sale of your home.